First, kind of an overview of what we're doing today. We had several requests for working towards Hanamanasana or front splits. So we're going to work towards that today. Now, some of you do them already and have mastered the art of it. So great, you can kind of work a little faster towards the pose than I will teach it today. But if you never ever do front splits, it's okay. There's so many postures and so many things that give you the benefits of what that pose does that is absolutely no need to feel like you have to get there. So we'll use blocks to help support us, straps to help us warm up, and we'll basically be working towards that today. Just if you've never heard of Hanuman, it's Hanamanasana. Asana means pose. Hanuman, Lord Hanuman, kind of a mythical figure who was about devotion, selflessness, sense of humor, and the pose itself, the position is kind of like stands for a leap of faith. He was known for these amazing leaps in that tale. So that's kind of where the name comes from. All right, let's just take a moment to get ourselves centered and ready for today's practice by positioning yourself that will allow for an aligned spine. And as you settle into that, begin to just scan your body. See any areas, notice any areas that just need a little extra attention. And breathe some warmth and relaxation into those areas. Scan your emotional state and see if you can, if you're not already there, shift yourself into a place of experiencing joy or a positive emotion. We want to begin our practice from that state so that it infuses our body, our mind, and our spirit with that as we move through the poses. And then just check in with your breath and try to even out any choppy spots or any inconsistencies as you even out your inhalations and exhalations through the nose. And as your breath guides you to that calmer, clearer state, if you'd like to set an intention for today's practice, it could be around the attributes I mentioned about Hanuman: perseverance, devotion, leaps of faith, or choose your own. And to seal that intention, you can bring your hands together at heart center and gently draw the chin in and down. And then bring your head back up to a neutral position and softly open your eyes. So we're gonna go ahead and come into hands and knees position. Sun salutations happen to be a really great warm up for the muscles we need in this pose. So as I kind of talk, you can kind of work yourself through a few rounds of cat-cow or side-to-side motion. So, you don't have to do the full sun salutation. I'll modify it first couple of times anyway with a little stops, little pit stops to focus in on our hamstrings, glutes, quads, hip flexors, which we need to be flexible and warmed up before even attempting Hanamanasana. All right, make your way back to a neutral position. Let's go into puppy dog. Walk the hands forward as wide as you need to keep the shoulders away from the ears. As you keep the hips high, sink your chest and chin down. You may want to come in and out of it a few times with your breath, sinking a little farther each exhalation. Press through the fingertips, lift your chest away from the mat, and walk the hands back in underneath your shoulders. Tuck the toes under. We're going to lift the knees and hold it there just for a moment, drawing in our belly. And then almost like a chair pose from this position. So shift the hips back, keep the knees bent at about 90 degrees. Heels will stay high, and relax the head between the arms. And maybe even shake out the head a little bit. Draw the belly in. And then shift yourself back to that starting position. Release the knees back to the mat. Walk the hands just a little bit forward and come into a modified upward facing dog. Draw the shoulders down, roll them back, and lift the heart center and gaze slightly. And then back to hands and knees. Walk the hands back in. And once more, lifting the knees. This time we'll go into a modified downward dog. And feel free to pedal it out a bit. Stay here for one more full round of breath, and exhale everything out. As you inhale, go ahead and look between the hands, and you can walk the feet forward until they're between your hands. Feet will stay hip width apart. You can even use your blocks as you relax your head forward, soften the knees quite a bit, and just breathe into the back body. Relax the toes. Knees can go a little bit straighter. If you'd like to clasp the hands at the elbows and just sway a little bit side to side. Just kind of check in to see where your hamstrings, what they're feeling like today. Do they feel super tight or not? And then release the hands down. You may even enjoy using your blocks if you've not before for this kind of first modified round of sun salutation. So you can, if you're using them, keep them near your feet. Inhale into a halfway lift. And exhale, we'll step both feet back to a plank. And then shift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. So of course, you'll need to make sure you don't have books on the hard floor that will slip. They need to, you don't want to feel like you're sliding with your props. So floor is certainly fine as usual, just showing you options. And then you're going to shift yourself forward again into plank. And you could lower the knees, or you can perform a modified upward dog with hands on the blocks, toes tucked under, lifting heart, spreading across the collarbones. And just see how this may change. Check that you're not cupping the hands. You want to keep pressing through the fingertips. Good. And then shift through plank and back to downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift the right leg up. And exhale, bring it all the way forward between the hands or block. Wiggle the toes back of your left foot and then lower that knee. So we're going to kind of go back and forth, kind of a little dynamic warming up glute and hip flexor on the left side, hamstring on the right side by just kind of rocking forward and back a few times. So I'm keeping my toes down. I'll move this out of the way for a second. Instead of lifting the heels, instead of lifting them up right now. So toes down, I'm just going back and forth a few times. Next time you come forward, we're going to stay there for a moment, focusing on really lengthening through the hip flexor and quad on that left side. Draw the tailbone towards the knee crease. Just hold it there and breathe. And then bringing our attention and awareness more to the right side, hip and glute area, hamstrings. We're going to walk the right foot over, hands to the inside of that foot. And maybe you can start bending your elbows, either forearms on your blocks or maybe to the mat, and relaxing the head. Lift the head, come back to your hands. And with the toes of your right foot angled slightly out, you can take your hand to the inside of that knee and let it just roll to the outer blade of the right foot. I like to include a slight twist to the right. Opening up that hip joint on the right side. And bring the foot flat, toes pointed forward. And optional reaching back finally for that top of your left foot. And see how I went back with my hips? Now I want to shift the hips forward and down to get that stretch in the hip flexor and quad. So if you need deeper stretch, you just pull it in a little closer. You could certainly use your strap instead of your hand. And gently release the foot back to the mat. Hand can come to the inside of your right foot. Lift the left knee and step back to downward facing dog. Repeating on the left side, we'll lift the left leg up first and then bring the foot forward between the hands. We'll go the right toes back, knee to the mat or to a blanket. You can untuck the toes. We're going to go back and forth like we did on the other side. So you'll exhale, take the knee a little straighter, follow the foot down, and inhale. So you can go back and forth on your own a few times. It's likely that you notice a difference between the two sides. As you know, my left side is my problem, I wouldn't say problematic, but it creates a sense of patience and mindfulness that I have to employ. Old chronic hamstring, knee issues. So I'm going to be super careful on my left side. And the next time your knee is bent, you can stay there and hold it. Again, you're really lengthening through the tailbone to create a stretch along the right. Now we're doing the front of the right leg, back of the left. Full deep breath, staying there. Visualize the lengthening of the muscles in the legs. Moving our focus to the back of the left leg, walk the left foot over, hand on the inside. And if you want to go a little deeper, you can start bending the elbows, moving towards lizard, relaxing the head, the face, the neck. And then lifting the head, coming back to the hands, toes angled slightly out, left hand on the inside of the left knee, rolling to the outer blade of that left foot. Option of looking back to the left. And then foot planted, knee facing the front edge of the mat. If you'd like to reach back for the top of your right foot. And gently bring the heel in if you need a deeper stretch. Again, my hips are forward and down, not back here, because that will not create the stretch where I want it. Gently release the foot to the mat. Hand can come to the inside of the left foot and step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale right there, pressing back through the heels. Inhale, modified upward facing dog. Toes stay tucked under. And exhale back through plank to downward facing dog. Take one more full breath here. Exhale everything out. As you inhale, gaze toward the front edge of your mat and walk the feet forward, releasing to a forward fold. Inhale, safely come all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Modified Surya Namaskar A. Exhale, bend the knees, fold forward. We're actually going to do a hybrid between A and B, I've decided. So inhale, halfway lift, and we're going to go into chair pose. So exhale, hips drop a little more. Hands can come to heart, lifting the chest. Check that knees are same distance apart as your feet and hips. Maybe sink a little lower without leaning forward. And then modified forward fold, knees can stay bent. Inhale, halfway lift one more time. And exhale, step both feet back. We'll just go directly to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg to the sky. Exhale, bring the foot all the way forward between the hands. As before, you could lower the knee to the mat or choose to keep it up this time as you bring your hands up to heart center. Stacking shoulders over the hips and lengthening the tailbone. Back knee is straight if possible, if the knee is off the mat. And again, should feel a bit of a stretch. Front of the left leg, getting some blood into the right glute and hamstring. Good. You can bring your fingertips to the floor on each side of your foot or the blocks. Take that back foot, bring it in just a little bit. And we're going to go back and forth, kind of like we did with the knee down. And if your knee is still down, that's fine. So bend the right knee and then hips up and back as you take the right knee a little straighter. Bend the right knee and shift it up and back. I'm keeping my left heel off the mat right now. We've already held it kind of with the knee bent. So now we're going to keep the hips up and back, right knee as straight as is okay with your back. And just allow yourself to mount down towards that straight or almost straight right leg. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, step it back to downward facing dog. Before going to the other side, let's move through a little half vinyasa. So inhale, shift your weight forward into plank or modified plank. And then we'll move into your expression of upward facing dog. It can be full expression or not. Holding it there for a few breaths. Keeping weight evenly pressing through the feet if you're in full expression. Good, shoulders stacked over wrists. And exhale back to downward facing dog or puppy dog. Moving to the left side, lift the left leg up and bring that foot forward between the hands. Your choice of back knee staying off the mat or not. If the knee's off the mat, try to straighten it. And when you feel balanced, bring the hands up to heart center. Just check that you relax through the shoulders. Not gripping too hard with your front toes. And move to the little more dynamic situation. We'll bring the hands down. I think it's helpful to bring the back foot in just a little bit. And we'll go back and forward. So take the left knee a little straighter and bend. Again, you could have the blocks by you. My back heel is staying off the mat. And on your next exhalation, take that left knee a little straighter. We're going to hold this position, focusing and releasing tension, tightness, and fear from behind the left knee, thigh, glute. And then bend back into the knee and step back to downward facing dog. Take one more full breath here and exhale everything out. Inhale, bring both feet forward between the hands for your halfway lift. And exhale, fold it forward. Rather than come all the way up, we'll just inhale, halfway lift. Returning to chair, exhale, bend the knees. And hands to heart center or arms by the ears. For one more inhale here, and exhale once again forward. You can stay right here for your forward fold, or you can bring the hands around behind the feet. And see if you can lift the heels and place the heels on the hands. So forearms will be behind the calves, and maybe or maybe not, your legs will go a little straighter, your knees will straighten a little bit. Release the hands slowly out from each heel if it's there. And once more, halfway lift. Exhale, bend into the knees for chair pose again. Belly drawn in, toes relaxed. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step it back to plank. And lower either all the way down or halfway down. You can always have the knees there. Inhale into your heart opener of choice. And exhale, either puppy dog or downward facing dog. One more full breath in downward facing dog. Exhale all of that air out. Inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, bring it all the way forward between the hands. Back knee up or down. If it's up, you can move into Virabhadrasana A, spinning that back heel in and down, lining the heels up as you lift the arms either by your ears or hands at heart. One more inhale here. Exhale, we're not going to step back. We're going to bring the hands down. Again, slide that back foot in. And release the heel back down, straightening the front right knee. So if you're on your knee, totally fine. We're going to be going here. You're going to be going here. We're going to do it in standing. Lengthening first. Draw the crease at the top of your right thigh back. And exhale, lengthen the torso as you fold forward, chin towards the shins. If you'd like, turn the fingers toward the back edge of your mat and walk them back a bit. If they're not already, hands back by the front foot. Bend the knee, step back to downward dog. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale forward between the hands. Option of moving into warrior A on this side. Repeat what you did on the other. Good. Check that you're not leaning forward. Weight into that back foot. Encouraging the right hip forward with an open heart and shoulders relaxed. One more inhale here. Exhale, release the fingertips down by the foot. Take the back foot in slightly and begin to take that left knee a little straighter. Inhale, bring yourself away from the leg, lengthening the torso. And exhale, folding squarely over that straight left leg. We're almost straight. Again, you could use blocks. On this side, you'll think about the crease at the top of your left thigh moving back. Inhale, halfway lift. You can slide your blocks forward or out of the way. Exhale, step it back to downward dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower to or toward the floor, maybe Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, gliding into upward dog or cobra. And exhale, puppy dog or downward dog. Inhale, shift forward again into plank. And then exhale, we're going to come all the way down onto the mat. Bringing your right arm so the forearm's lined up with the front edge of your mat. And bringing your left arm by your left leg. You can rest your forehead on the right arm. Take a couple of breaths. And then bend the left knee. Reach back for the top of that foot. You could also use a strap around the edge and hold onto your strap. Or find your pant leg. Make sure that that left thigh is near or touching your right thigh. You can encourage the heel down towards your glute. Check that you don't start arching your back, lifting your tailbone toward the sky. In fact, you want the opposite. Release the tailbone toward the back edge of your mat, almost like you're trying to tuck it under, while continuing the heel towards the glute. If you need a deeper stretch, you could even lift that entire left thigh off the mat. And then release the left foot back to the mat, and we'll switch sides. So bend the right knee, reach back for the top of the foot. Make sure the thigh is near the left thigh, and encourage the heel towards your glute. If you'd like to, lift the entire right thigh off the mat, keeping the lower back lengthened as much as you can. And then release that foot to the mat. You can rest your forehead on both forearms. Continue to rest there, or if available, you can reach back with both hands, bend both knees, and reach for the top of your feet. Again, thighs in close, push the feet into the hands, Start to lift the gaze, the chest, the thighs. Continue pushing the feet into the hands. And breathing. And then gently release back down. And you can just rest your head to one side or on your forearms. I'm gonna let my pup out. And then with the hands under the shoulders, press yourself up and back into child's pose. The big toes touching and arms by your side. And just roll yourself up from child's pose. Shift your hips over to one side and bring the legs in front. So usually I don't come on to our back yet, but I really do want to do a hamstring stretch on our back. That takes the back out of the picture so we can really focus on hamstring length. So you'll want to have a strap handy, or you can use your hands. So again, trying to meet the needs you have there. And go ahead and strap it around the ball of your right foot. And you can go ahead and slowly lay back. Use your hands if you need to. Keep your left knee bent and foot on the mat to begin with. We'll start with the right leg pretty low, but the knee is straight. Head relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Keeping the knee straight, you'll start to lift the leg up and you can walk the hands toward the feet on your strap. So hopefully you can keep your shoulders and neck relaxed, head down, and just find a position where you're just kind of using your grip strength to hold the strap, getting a nice stretch along the back of your right leg. If your back is okay with it, you could take the left leg straight. We'll stay here for a few rounds of breath, so feel free to close your eyes and slowly deepen the stretch as your body feels like it needs that, if it needs that. You can stay right there, or you can follow along with me to take the leg out to the right. Scooting over. So this may feel really nice to your entire left side as well. I'm gonna take my left arm, bring it first up by my ear, and then bend the elbow and try to place my head on the arm. My right hand is gonna guide my right leg out to the right, and I'm gonna use it to help place the strap into my left hand. My left arm is still behind my head. And the right leg will continue to come out to the right as far as feels right for you. But the more you walk the left hand toward the feet, the more you'll get that stretch along your left lat, maybe rib cage. Keep your left leg grounded. You should feel this stretch on the right leg more on the inner right leg now, the adductors. So you'll use your hands to help bring that leg back up. You can remove the left hand. And then keep both hips grounded, both sides of your glute grounded. So knee's going to stay straight. You're going to just go a little bit to the left. It won't go far. Otherwise, you'll turn it into a spinal twist. You're just looking for, it might feel like a tingling along the outside of your right thigh. Maybe stretch your right arm out to the right to kind of keep yourself grounded down on the right side. And come back to center. Let's move into a figure four stretch on the side before going into the left. So bend the left knee back up. If it's not, you can release the strap, have it nearby. Bend the knee, ankle bent, knee out to the side. And then with the ankle on your left thigh, you can bring that left knee in. Again, keeping head and shoulders relaxed. Feel free to move around the ankle and toes of your left foot. Okay, we'll uncross. Right foot down, knee bent. Strap around the ball of your left foot. Take the leg low enough so that you can start with the left knee straight and keep it straight as you use your hands to move the sole of the foot towards the sky. Relax the shoulders, the head. No need for it to be off the mat. Right leg can stay where it is or extend along the ground. Full deep breaths, relaxed face. Close your eyes if you'd like. You can stay right there, or if you want to do what we did on the other side, you're going to take your right arm up by the ear, bend the elbow, head on the arm. And then use your left hand to help place it in your right hand. And then slowly allow that leg to open up to the left. You can use both hands to help guide the speed. Right side stays grounded. And then we'll bring it back up to center. Keeping the left glute and side down. You can open your left arm to the side and then just take the leg over to the right a little bit. So again, you kind of feel a stretch or tingling outside of your left leg. And then leg back to center, moving into figure four stretch on the side. We'll thread the needle. Strap can go completely out of the way. Knee bent, ankle bent. Open the knee to the side and gently encourage your right knee towards your chest. Pushing the left knee out to the side with that left elbow. Move your ankle and toes on the right. And uncross, release. You can either turn to your side and come back up to a seated position, or hold the feet and rock and roll a few times, massaging the muscles, and come all the way up. Couple of breaths there, and now it's time to move toward Hanamanasana, front splits. So good idea to have blocks handy and come to about the middle of your mat. Hands on the block, kind of in a hands and knees position. I'm gonna start on the right side. So we'll bring the right foot forward. And we'll start with just a modified, basically a half split. You can walk the toes forward until that knee is straight. And you can have the block even up here, it's totally fine. Make sure your knee and toes are pointing toward the sky, and you may need extra padding under the left knee and leg. Keeping that knee straight, now the toes are off the mat, you can start to fold your chest towards that leg. You can always move the blocks forward as needed. That may be enough. If you want to go a little further, foot flat, slide the left knee back as far as you can, and return to the toes up, knee straight on right side. You could then start letting that left heel kind of wiggle it or slide it forward, and maybe move the blocks back closer to your hips. And then you can kind of work both legs so they're closer to what looks like a split. But use the hands either on the floor or your blocks to support keeping your torso upright. We're not here, we're up here. And making sure that back leg doesn't roll over to one side or the other. That way, as you make progress, you're doing it in proper form. If you start to just kind of let yourself be loosey-goosey, you probably won't see progress as quickly or at all. So again, on top of the back leg, knee and toes of the front leg or towards the sky, shoulders relaxed. You can come out of this anytime you need to, but otherwise just see if you can breathe and notice. Please don't force this pose. You will not like the feeling afterwards. I haven't done it in years myself, so I'm not going to go all the way into it. We'll take a break on that side for a minute. So bend the front knee, slide the back knee in. You can take the blocks forward. And I'm going to move into both, your choice, but I'm going to do a little modified or full upward dog, your choice. And then any expression of child's pose that you'd like. Coming back up, and we'll try it on the other side. So hands on the block, hands and knees position. Left leg steps forward. You could even go ahead and take that right knee back just a little bit if you know that you're going to need it. If you want to turn your blocks taller so that you're upright, and then take the left knee straight, toes to the sky. Settle in there for a moment, and this may be enough, or even just forward folding from here can be where you go today. If you want to move closer into full expression, you can tuck your toes under on the back foot to move that knee back a little bit and wiggle the heel forward on the left leg. You'll probably notice a difference. I'm going to stay very conservative with my left side. Remember, yoga is not a competitive sport. You never want to overstretch. A tear the hamstring, which is what I had a long time ago, takes forever to heal. Not a good thing. And then just close your eyes and breathe wherever you are. Make sure you're not rolling over to one side or the other with that back leg. Left knees and toes still towards the sky. And to come out of it, I'm going to start bending the knee, the heel and knee a little closer. Moving the blocks out of the way. And taking the left leg back. Shift your hips forward and down into any heart opener you'd like. And then exhale into child's pose. Back to hands and knees. We'll move through one more time on each side. So right leg forward. Take a moment to make your alignment adjustments. And then you can wiggle your front heel forward, your back knee back. Keeping your heart up, shoulders over hips. Hanamanasana. Monkey pose. Front splits. Press into the hands. Coming out of it that side. And we'll go ahead into the left side. And just move mindfully and slowly at your own pace. Relax the muscles of your face. Breathing fully and deeply. And slowly making your way out of the pose. Hands in front. Again, heart opener. And child's pose. I'm doing extended balasana with knees wide, arms in front. Coming out of child's pose. Your legs around. Going to make our way onto the mat for our Shavasana. So any props you need for your Shavasana, have them handy. And slowly bring yourself down onto your back. Once down on your back, straighten the legs and point the toes. Hook the thumbs overhead and reach long as you can through fingers and toes. Squeeze the muscles of your body. And as you exhale, take the arms around and bring both knees into your chest. Exhaling forehead to knees. And release the head down. I'm going to move into a spinal twist. You can just keep the knees close to your chest. And as you exhale, lower the knees to the right. As you gaze out to the left. Inhale, knees back to center, head back to center, knees to the left, gaze to the right. Knees and head back to center. Realign the spine, lengthen the neck and the low back. And then take the feet about as wide as your mat. Let the feet roll out to the side and the arms comfortable distance away from the body with the palms skyward. Begin to bring your awareness to the feet and the legs. Using your breath to send a wave of warmth and healing into both legs. Feel them absorb the benefits of your breath. They remain heavy and feel supported by the mat beneath you and the earth beneath your mat. Bring your awareness to your pelvis, your belly, your back, your entire torso. As it becomes heavy and surrenders to stillness. Supported by the mat and the earth beneath the mat. Send a breath of calmness through the shoulders and down the arms into the hands and fingers. The arms heavy, relaxed, and supported. Enjoy the relaxation through your neck. And imagine a bit of a scalp massage as you send your breath tingling at every hair follicle, massaging away tension from your forehead, your temples, your jaw. Withdrawing from the senses, you become aware of the clarity in your mind. And allow yourself to just keep coming back, breathing in health and calmness, and exhaling it into every part of your being. Feel free to mute me if you'd like to enjoy and can enjoy a longer Shavasana. And if it's the recording, you can unmute me when you're ready to come out. Starting to bring our awareness back to our surroundings. Take a deep breath in, noticing the smell. Notice the sounds. We'll keep our eyes closed, but notice any taste in your mouth. And begin to notice movement as you wiggle fingers and toes. Then circling wrists, moving ankles. Gently turning the head side to side. And then begin walking the feet in by bending the knees. And bending the elbows. Rolling over to one side and linger there for a moment. And then gently press yourself back up to a seated position with an aligned spine. Just become aware the power of stillness. Hitting that reset button. Becoming more familiar with the inner landscape of your body and mind. When you're ready, softly open your eyes, taking in the sights around you. And certainly feel free to bring hands to heart center. And feel a sense of gratitude for taking this important time for self-care.